Right, 26 October 2024, and today I'm going to be giving you my Saturday update. And yesterday we were unable to bring Tinashe Jonasi due to some security issues that arose, and we're going to bring that discussion on the rigging of the Botswana elections and the Namibia elections and the Mozambique elections next week. And we have scheduled it for Monday. So I'll let you know if Tinashe Jonasi is going to be available due to security issues that have arisen. And I won't be able to give you details today, but I'll do so at some other future point. So I want to take you through what has happened and what is going to happen. And as I always say, do not look inside, look at the bigger picture. So when you look at what is happening right now, do not look at the detail, look at the bigger picture. And that is what I'm trying to paint for you, the bigger picture of what is happening in Zimbabwe and what is going to happen and the key players. So the main actor right now is General Chiwenga. So General Chiwenga is the main actor. He is the man of the moment. So General Chiwenga is the man. He is the one whose actions are going to determine what happens in Zimbabwe next. So, however General Chiwenga proceeds, that is how this whole thing is going to go down. It is up to General Chiwenga to make it or to lose it. So if General Chiwenga does not act in a way that assures his ascendancy to the presidency, then he's going to lose. If he acts in a way that assures his ascendancy, he's going to win. But whoever moves first is the one that is going to win. Whoever moves last is going to lose. And currently, the way things are looking, General Chiwenga is on the verge of losing his position as next in line. So remember what I said, General Chiwenga is next in line. There is no person in the whole of Zimbabwe that is in the position that General Chiwenga is. However, Mnangagwa has been planning for a very long time. And what is happening is that Mnangagwa wants to put in place his sons. So I said it to you, this is not about anyone else. It's about the sons. So let's look at what happened yesterday. So yesterday, Mnangagwa arrived with his sons, and you will see that on the right of your screen, there is Collins, and then on the left, there's Emmerson Jnr. And there are many, many of these pictures. You can go check them out. And these two, Collins and Emmerson Jnr., they are playing a very important role in ZANU-PF and in the government. So you remember Jonas was here and he explained that Collins Mnangagwa is in charge of the political agenda of the family, and Emmerson here is working closely with Mnangagwa. So these are the two preferred sons for a political position. Kuda Mnangagwa, who is in the Ministry of Finance, is not a favorite. So he's not a favorite of the mother. He's not always by her side. So what you see is you're going to see these two playing a key role. That is Emmerson and Collins, the ones on the left. At the center, you see young Mugabe there. And on the right, you see another Collins, Super Collins, Mandwanzira over there. Mandwanzira is a very accomplished person, able to make serious connections. I can put Mandwanzira in the same league as Passion Java. Passion Java, behind the scenes, is the engine of communication of this whole network. So Passion Java, for the past 10 years, has been working behind the scenes, grooming Collins, and Collins has now taken over communications. So you must understand what Passion Java has done. Passion Java has created a media empire for the Mnangagwa family. He has taken over all the social media of Zimbabwe. So that is Passion Java. For the past 10 years, he's been going behind the scenes and taking over the social media. So the only person that you're going to see that is going to give you credible news is the people that have not been taken over. And I can authoritatively say to you that I know this for a fact, because most of the people right now that you see, they appear to be working alone, but there is a web, so a media web that is run by Collins over there on the left, together with Passion Java, and they've managed to capture almost everybody in the environment. So this is a very wide and broad strategy that they've taken. And that kind of strategy that Mnangagwa is implementing is long-term. It's not a short-term strategy, but currently the stumbling block is Chiwenga. So they see Chiwenga as standing in their way. And what they're going to do is they're going to once and for all deal with Chiwenga and decimate him and make him get out of the way. So Chiwenga is going to be removed, but they're going to implement the Chikukuvatavata strategy. What I told you is the Chikukuvatavata strategy, where they massage him before suddenly cutting his head. That is how they are going to implement this strategy, because Chiwenga has got massive respect within the security forces. Also, anyone in the security structures of Zimbabwe has got massive respect for General Chiwenga. They see him as someone that has got their interests at heart, and they see the Mnangagwa family as a problem. So people in the security structures, especially the middle and lower level officers, they see Chiwenga as someone who can change the trajectory of the country. And currently, they're not happy with what's happening. However, as I said, these guys are not together. So the whole military is not together. And another person that is going to play a key role is PV. You can see that PV is not here. Valerius Banda is not there. Normally, Valerius Banda by now should be attending these functions of ZANU-PF, because they attempted to put him into the ZANU-PF structures and he refused to go into the ZANU-PF structures. But this is not by coincidence. You also see that Sean is not here. So among these people here, you're not going to see Sean Mnangagwa. And you're also seeing that Kuda Mnangagwa is not here. Friday is a work day. So what Mnangagwa does, he implements what is called a cow horn formation, where he's going to surround you. So everyone is surrounded Chiwenga. Right now, wherever Chiwenga is, he's surrounded. So what they do is, when one part of the family is in Bulawayo at ZANU-PF, the other family members are going to be guarding other structures of government. So there is no moment when the Zimbabwe government or the ZANU-PF structures are not guarded, and they are everywhere. So they surround you and overwhelm you, and they do it so efficiently and in a way that you eventually don't understand where they're coming from. So that is the Mnangagwa family. They are implementing a strategy of decimating the enemies and slowly squeezing them out of oxygen. And this includes the resources. So you're going to see that people that do not agree with Mnangagwa and his plans, they'll be slowly squeezed out of opportunities. Mnangagwa will give cars, he will give cash, he will give positions to people that support him. And Chiwenga will have no resources to give to anyone. So they will slowly make sure that Chiwenga is a figurehead with nothing. So if you go to Chiwenga, you end up with no money, and all the people that are on Chiwenga's side, all they will have is support and words, but they won't have cash. And that is a deliberate strategy with the plan that within the next few years, the boys will be ready. And as I said, Collins, although he's able to strategically think and connect and work behind the scenes, he does not have charisma. Emmerson Jnr. almost has no profile. And Kuda, who is not a favorite, is the only one with a public presence who is able to speak. So they're going to try to groom Collins and make him able to speak and give him positions. And this includes eventually having all the structures of ZANU-PF under one Mnangagwa or the other. So across the whole country, currently we have the provinces of Midlands and Masvingo. Under the Mnangagwas, we now have the war veterans and the women. We also have all the youths chairpersons under one Mnangagwa or the other, or a supporter. And those people who don't support the agenda are going to be removed, are going to be out of the picture. And how they've done it is during the current conference, they've removed a whole lot of people and they leave a few elite people. So let's say they reduce the number from 3,000 and now they've got 500. And they've given each of those 500 people there a car. So each person who has arrived at the ZANU-PF National Annual People's Conference has received a D4D or a Ford Ranger and has got a farm. The Mnangagwa family is able to do that. And none of those people have received anything from Chiwenga. That is the game plan. The game plan is to make it so that eventually it is natural and normal to have these boys in a conference. It's not normal, it's not natural, and it makes no sense to have Collins and Emmerson and all these guys here. There is no way in the whole world where you're going to see what is happening in Zimbabwe. What is happening in Zimbabwe is odd, and it's unusual to have a family, mothers, daughters, sons running or being in front of a political party the way that Mnangagwa is doing. It's unnatural. It's not right, and it's not supposed to be like that. But you're going to see it, and eventually Zimbabweans are going to see it as a normal thing. It's not abnormal to Zimbabweans anymore to see this, but it's actually abnormal. But it's being normalized in front of your face. And then when they eventually say and announce that one of the Mnangagwa boys is the vice president of Zimbabwe, you won't find it odd that your president is a Mnangagwa, your vice is a Mnangagwa, and your youth league leader is a Mnangagwa, and your army commander is a Mnangagwa, and your CIO head is a Mnangagwa. So it will become normal. And eventually, your media, all of your media, is going to find it normal. And you think it's normal because they've taken it over slowly. And you're only going to have one person telling you that it's odd, who is Gambakwe. The rest of the guys will be telling you that it's normal that Collins is the vice president, or Kuda is the vice president, or Emmerson, which is what they want to do. But first, they have to cut off Chiwenga, they have to remove him, they have to decimate his support base, and they have to deal with any prospects of Chiwenga being a president of the country or a president of ZANU-PF. So this is clear. It's clear to me. I've got no doubt of what Mnangagwa is doing, and I have no doubt of the capabilities of Mnangagwa. Mnangagwa is capable of pushing this through, except that time has run out. So everything that I'm talking about is going to go down today and tomorrow. So let's get this clear. It's not a long-term thing. It's today and tomorrow. If Mnangagwa fails to implement this today, which is to get the resolution in place, and then tomorrow to get that resolution passed, the process of actually amending the constitution, it's already a done deal. It would have been done behind the scenes. However, the hurdle is today. To get this resolution for Mnangagwa to go to 2030, it must be passed, and then tomorrow it must be endorsed and announced. And the thing that is going to go next, it will go very fast. And there are two ways. So the two ways that this is going to go is, first, either this is going to be accepted and people will just let it go and hope that naturally it fails, or there'll be a massive resistance from the military guys, and you're going to see a sudden resistance to Mnangagwa. This has happened before. Mnangagwa has been resisted before by the military guys, but whoever resists Mnangagwa must be willing to take it to the end. He mustn't stop. So if you're going to resist Mnangagwa's plans, you can't be that person that is shy or who goes behind the scenes. You have to be someone who confronts Mnangagwa, because what he's doing is long-term. and it's got long-term impacts. And many people have benefited from Mnangagwa. It's payback time for most people that have benefited from Mnangagwa. He has appointed people everywhere. And dismantling this structure that Mnangagwa has put into place is going to need a ruthless number of actions. So if Mnangagwa's plans fails, you're going to see the whole Mnangagwa family running. So that those are the possible options. If what Mnangagwa is trying to do now fails, there will be no place for the Mnangagwa family in Zimbabwe after this. But if what they're doing succeeds, there will be no place for Chiwenga in Zimbabwe after this. So whichever side wins or moves first and is ruthless enough is going to win. And Chiwenga is not going to fall for the Chikukuvatavata strategy. If I am correct about this, Chiwenga is not going to fall for that strategy, because if he does fall for it, they are going to cut him off very quickly and ruthlessly. And when I talk about patronage, look at the current kind of characters that are coming out. People like Jabulani, they got nothing to offer in life, or even in material land. No one has ever received anything from these guys. They lack resources. So everyone that is working with Mnangagwa right now, their livelihood depends on Mnangagwa giving them something. It's almost as if he is feeding them, and they've got no choice. Because if Mnangagwa cuts them off or cuts them loose, they've got nothing. So Mnangagwa has effectively implemented this strategy of finding people that are desperate and making use of those people. And then he makes sure that he takes advantage of the situation, and he's going to make sure that Chiwenga doesn't become the president. So that is the game plan. Remember what I said, Chiwenga is the man right now. His actions are going to determine what happens next. But Mnangagwa already has a plan, and he's totally surrounded Chiwenga. So how does Chiwenga get out of that surrounding or the cowhorn? They've surrounded him. He's got no team, and what is going to happen next will require ruthless action from Chiwenga. And is Chiwenga able to do it? Is he capable of fighting back until he becomes president? Because that is clear. There is one path, Chiwenga to be president, but there is another path that Mnangagwa has created. One of his sons to be president. Mnangagwa himself, if you look at him very, very closely, you can see that Mdara Arkudaya Vudzi, right? His age is very advanced. He's trying his best, but time is run out for Mnangagwa. I do not expect Mnangagwa to be in office for five more years. That is something that I do not expect. I expect Mnangagwa to be out of the stage sooner, but I expect him to put his sons into office. That is not, I've got no doubt about it in my mind. So I think we've covered that. Today, a day to watch. Tomorrow, and even more day, critical day to watch, as the announcements are made on what is going to happen. What are the resolutions of ZANU-PF? We're going to watch those resolutions very, very closely. And this is a very important conference. Mnangagwa does not follow rules. Mnangagwa makes rules. So I see people getting confused. Don't get confused. Mnangagwa does not follow the rules. He creates the rules, and Mnangagwa likes to break the rules. He likes to confuse everybody. And at the moment, a lot of people are getting confused. They don't know what's happening. What is happening is simple. And I have to break it down again. Chiwenga is the man, and Mnangagwa's plan is to remove Chiwenga as the man. That is the simple game plan here. And everything that you've seen in the past year that we've been talking about here, it was a game plan leading up to this point where Chiwenga will finally lose his right to become the next president of Zimbabwe. If he doesn't succeed, then you're going to see a massive fall from grace of the Mnangagwa family, and they won't allow it. They won't go easily. And there's a lot of them, not just the public ones, but there's a lot of private Mnangagwas out there. Mnangagwa has prepared a lot of people around him, and most of them are blood. So they're not going to betray Mnangagwa. They will fight from one end. And that is the kind of people you're going up against. A lot of ruthless, ready to fight soldiers that is created by blood. Right, I think we've covered that. So today, a day to watch, and let's see what happens tonight. If the resolutions are out, I'll be back to analyze them. I also have a musician who I'll be talking to later on today so that we see what is happening. And as I said, I'm traveling these next few weeks. I'm going to be going to the United States, and we're going to be doing a lot. High-speed rail, planned cities, and connections between our country. Those are the kind of things that we're talking about. 2 houses for a soldier. 2025 is going to be a big year. But politically, we are at a very, very difficult point. And for us to end up with the Mnangagwa, Chiwenga presidents, you want to first of all pass through a transitional system. And that means I expect something very big to happen very soon. I do not expect all these things I'm talking about to happen in a long period of time. I expect them to happen very, very quickly. And I expect it to be sudden. Whatever is going to happen is going to be sudden because someone is going to make an unexpected move. And someone is going to have to make a mistake. For Mnangagwa's plans to fail, someone must make a mistake or someone must hesitate. It's something that I don't think Mnangagwa is capable of doing. I think if you give Mnangagwa a gun and say, shoot that guy, he's going to do it, and then he's going to go and have lunch. Those are the kind of guys that we're looking at here. Right, let's quickly go through the news, and then we'll take a break. I want to look at a big developing story right now in Zimbabwe. So at Meikles, there is a big fight. The board of Meikles, as I said a few weeks back, is engaged in a vicious fight for control. And today, there's been a statement issued by John Moxton. I think that is his name. Yes, refused the actions of the board of Meikles. So I'm going to put this on Gambakwe. He says the firing of the CEO, Malcolm Mycroft, was irregular. This was announced by ZANU-PF a few weeks back after a board resolution was reached. And John Moxton says that board meeting was not correct. There was no quorum, and he's questioned everything that has happened there. So massive problem at Meikles. And John Moxton, one of the richest men in Zimbabwe, with last year alone, I think his wealth has grown to $100 million just on his shares at Meikles. So Meikles suffering a big fallout within the board. And I don't know what the role of ZANU-PF is over there, but he's the one who issued the statement a few weeks back. So you can go check that out. I'm going to put this statement on Gambakwe. Then another story that is developing is that in Botswana, today, opposition parties in Botswana are going to march to the Zimbabwe embassy because the Zimbabwe government, through Mnangagwa, is currently involved in the rigging of the Botswana elections. So, as I said, Emmerson Jnr is supposed to come here and give us the actual detail of how this rigging is taking place. But Mnangagwa has been involved with a group of people within SADC of rigging all the elections. So 30 October, that will be the election in Botswana. And I think the 9th of October was Mozambique. And then the 27th of November is Namibia. So all these elections have got one thing in common. Mnangagwa has a team that is over there rigging for the incumbent governments. He believes that there is a force that is trying to remove the liberation movements, and he's working with the current presidents or the current liberation movements who are in charge in those governments to rig the elections. So what is happening, for example, in Mozambique is odd, where they actually took papers and stuffed them and put marked ballots. And sometimes they didn't even vote in certain places. They voted a day later. And sometimes the numbers of people who voted is more than the adults in a particular constituency. And then they tabulate wrong. the mark with the pen, it was a mess. And Mozambique has now got an odd 70% win for Daniel Chapo, which is unbelievable, given that Venancio Mondlane is the most popular person in Mozambique. So what you're seeing right now is the dangerous effect of having Mnangagwa in SADC. And so the opposition party in Botswana is going to march today to the Zimbabwean embassy in Gaborone. And this is happening today, so we're going to be following that. They are refusing that rigging. And already that team is there. I explained to you over a year ago that ZANU-PF intelligence had dominated or have arrived in Botswana, and they are wreaking havoc in Botswana. Botswana is a country that doesn't have a lot. They depend on diamonds, and right now the diamonds are running out. Their revenue has fallen, and the country is going through an economic crisis. So Masisi is under pressure to rig the elections and stay in power. He's going to clean in power. So we're going to have a bunch of dictators. Zimbabwe, Namibia, Botswana, Mozambique, a bunch of dictators who were put in place by one guy. And you know what that means? It means Zambia is going to be isolated even further. South Africa will have not much to say, although the elections in South Africa were also in one way affected by Mnangagwa, who put ZANU-PF here to campaign. So it's crazy what's happening in Southern Africa, but the opposition parties in Botswana and Namibia already waking up the impact of Mnangagwa. The guys in Mozambique already went and protested against Mnangagwa last week. So everyone is well aware that this problem with Mnangagwa is not just in Zimbabwe, it's all over Southern Africa. Then what else do I have? I want to end with a story that is crazy. So in Zimbabwe, right, Newsday newspaper is covering a very interesting story. There is this tree here. It's called Mgondorosi. So there's a second tree that I'm covering this particular month. So this tree is running out in Zimbabwe. It's going extinct because guys are using it to treat their problems in the bedroom. So people are using the roots, the leaves, the bark to treat ED, and they use it through traditional healers in Chiredzi. And my understanding is that according to that newspaper, they are quoting Chiredzi as a place where they have this tree and obviously other places. But they say that 80% of Zimbabwean men are having problems in the bedroom, and that is why they have to use such trees. So this is a massive problem. And they say that the reason why this is happening is because of stress. So this tree is actually going extinct in Zimbabwe. And it follows after I showed you that the Muvea tree is also going extinct in Zimbabwe. So there are many, many trees that are being used, but this particular tree is running out. So it's going out of, it's going into extinction because people are cutting. Sometimes they uproot the whole thing and cut it off and carry it off. And the traditional healer says, some people come and carry off as many or as much as they can. So what I always tell guys, and when I see guys, I was talking to guys when I say, if you go to Zimbabwe, you see Kuti, a Zimbabwean guy looks different from a guy who is coming from overseas. The reason is, first and foremost, you need to work out. Secondly, you need to take good care of your body. You can't just be walking around in the sun, and you need to shower, and you need to use some deodorant, and you need to go to the gym every single day, because the most reason why guys are having these issues is because you're actually sick. If you see yourself having issues in the bedroom, you're sick somewhere in your body. There is some illness that you must treat. And normally that means you either have a lifestyle disease like high blood pressure, or like, let's say diabetes, or you've got hypertension. So all those diseases eventually lead to you having issues. And also the issues like prostate cancer. And so I always encourage guys, like, use natural herbs, but use them for a longer time. Don't now like try to use those pills that you see on the road, because they will damage your liver and you won't be able to function again. So once you take those pills from the street, you now rely on them. And for guys who just walk into a shop and get a small pack with 2 pills, and then you're off, within a year or two, your body will be damaged and you'll be needing dialysis and all that kind of stuff. So I think many guys are getting the message. In fact, let me show you what we've done. So this pack, we've been sending this to, it's a very small pack, like 100 grams. This is our supply in Johannesburg, right? So you're gonna laugh. This pack is supposed to last 30 days, right? And this is the battery. And most guys have had good results with that tree that we've been supplying to them through our supplier in Johannesburg. So most guys in the UK and in the United States. So the reason I'm telling you this is, don't just buy stuff that you don't know. Like, don't go to a person that is not a qualified herbalist and buy anything, because you don't know if they're using the bark, if they're using the root, if they're using the leaves, if they're using the flowers. So make sure you get your stuff from the correct guys. And one thing, the worst thing that you can ever have as a man is a big stomach. So if you see yourself with a big stomach, that thing is releasing poison into your body every day. So you need to make sure that you know how to eat and when to eat and what not to eat. So for example, you cannot drink tea with sugar at night. You cannot eat sadza at 8:20 and then you go to bed at 9. So those are the kind of things that you need to know. And you cannot wake up in the morning and then have tea at 9 and then have lunch at 1 and then have a snack at 3 and then sit in the house watching Netflix. That's why you end up with a big stomach. So you need to understand, Kuti, your body, how it is made. And you should also have strength. So when you work out, you can't work out your arms only. You must work out your arms, your legs, your midsection. You know, some guys I see, Kuti, when they're standing there like Mpangwa in the middle, I don't know what that's called, where you are strong at the top and weak at the bottom. And you must also have a thin waist. Those are the things that I'm telling you here that you need to know as a guy. And then you see, Kuti, all your problems are over. On top of that, you must have your own space as a man. So, Kudara, there's no man who used to live with a woman. So the whole day, you can't spend the whole day just sitting with the women and talking, nyaya or gossiping. A man must have his own space. So myself, I spend half of my time in my office. I don't spend my house in the kitchen or in the sitting room arguing with the women about where to put the plate or where to put the. So you must be busy. You must have something to do. And those are the kind of things that are affecting 80% of Zimbabwean men, according to this article in the Newsday newspaper, currently suffering from ED. What is ED? Yeah. Okay, so I think I've covered this. I normally cover these issues because guys who watch me here, I want to help you not only to know politics, but I want you to be very strong, not weak. And I don't want your 1 liter engine to stay 1 liter. You must make it a 3 liter engine. And Autongo in the Masaland. Right, so I'm going to be leaving, obviously. If you want to place that order, I'm going to be gone. So what's up there? And I'll send you. This is my last 2 weeks here. And then, obviously, we need to make sure that if you're in the UK, you get your pack before I leave. Then let's go to community. There's going to be Diamond Festival today at Osborne Dam. And these are the people that are going to be over there. Master H, Chill Sport, Sulu. Basically, everyone here is very popular. But the funny thing is there's no men here. But there's no woman here. There's no girl. All the guys who are performing here are boys. And there's another function at Esgodini, where Sandra Ndebele is probably going to be playing over there. They are having some ZANU-PF function. And I don't believe that there are sanctions in Zimbabwe. So sanctions were removed. The only sanctions that are there against Mnangagwa, Mnangagwa, Arkurayavan, and Zara. So I think we've covered everything. Let's go to the comments and then we'll recap. Mukama Mpumelo says Gambakwe is a joke, serious. You can't say joke and then serious in the same line. Mpumelelo. I can listen to Gambakwe media 24/7. Yes, we're going to do it. We're coming up with a new setup. We want to build the Gambakwe head office. And I'm so happy that a number of people are already offering to help us. So the Gambakwe head office is coming very, very soon. And Nina and the battery Mnangagwa and the battery Nemunu Kumashingo. I'll be there at my head office. And then like Dure says, I don't think it could be that easy. Let us wait and see. It is that easy. Mnangagwa is a very cunning person. And Mnangagwa, once he takes a decision, he implements it. The problem with most people is they hesitate. When you take power and you're going to be a president, you must have a plan. Mnangagwa has got only one plan, which is to grab power. He's got no other plan. So when Chiwenga comes into office, or if he's going to come into office, Chiwenga must have a plan to develop the country. The next person who's going to be president of Zimbabwe must be a person that will change Zimbabwe to a first world country. And let me tell you what's wrong. So the Bulawayo City Council and the councillors have said Bulawayo is not developing. Nothing is happening in Bulawayo. You know why nothing is happening in Bulawayo? All the men are gone. All the men in Matabeleland are gone. So you can't develop when you are gone. Why are the men gone? There is nothing, there's no ecosystem. And when I talk of an ecosystem, I'm talking about high-speed rail connecting Bulawayo to Esgodini, to Lupane, to Wange, and then putting a way of connecting markets there, and then enabling people to build houses, to live a life that is amazing. Currently, that is not there. They are saying that if you go to Cowdrey Park, all you see is tuck shops. There is no mall. There is no nothing. There's no park. So if a person is coming to Bulawayo, life becomes hard. So they would rather go and sit in South Africa in a shack than live in Bulawayo with a big yard and with their family. So the moment someone leaves, now you have lost people who are supposed to buy products. Lupane won't grow. The gold that you're supposed to dig and bring into Bulawayo won't come out. The farming is not happening. So the whole thing doesn't work. So there's no ecosystem in Zimbabwe. In Harare, it's even worse. There's no CBD. So people are just wandering around. So you need a new leader with a vision who's going to change Zimbabwe. And that is where Chiwenga needs to come in. Unfortunately, the way that these guys are doing is such that people like Chiwenga are now forced to be politically singing praises to Mnangagwa to just stay safe. So that is what they have to do. If they don't do that, they'll be either removed from office or they'll be punished in indirect ways. Like what's happening to Chiwenga's people, they're getting punished. Anyone who doesn't support Chiwenga is punished and they are removed from the front. For example, check what has happened to Tatena Mabetera. She's now being put at the back of the room and you will never see a picture because she's being accused of supporting Chiwenga. Let's see other people here. Serious, Yacho. Come on, Chuk says I'm serious. I'm not serious. Inino kaswara ni unoyazuzi yakuti waswara ni moon. And let's say you get a guy like me in a room, right? I can give you hundreds of experiences on different things. And the experience that I have with media in Zimbabwe is such that I can sit here. How many minutes have we gone now? I've gone for 40 minutes, right? I've been talking by myself. Most people can't do it. They can't organize their thoughts. Most people, I always tell people like, you should be able to sit down and organize your thoughts from beginning to end. And I think you agree that I've organized my thoughts here. And I've been correct on what Mnangagwa is planning. That is the clarity that we need. And my clarity is on what needs to be done in Zimbabwe, what's wrong. What's wrong in Zimbabwe is the ecosystem. No matter what the Reserve Bank of Zimbabwe does. So let's look at what the Reserve Bank of Zimbabwe said today. The Reserve Bank of Zimbabwe has poured 32 million over the past 60 days, on top of the 52 million. And now the demand for Forex has increased by 10 million. From 15 million, it has increased to 25 million. So it's a moving target. What do you need to do to make Zimbabwe work? You need to create a certain kind of economy, which is based on high-speed rail, and which is based on plus cities, which is based on an ecosystem of highly connecting places so that things move fast. At the moment, everything is stagnant. Zimbabwe is very dirty. If you go into Zimbabwe, it's disgusting, especially if you go to Harare. If you walk into Harare toilet, you just go in the next plane and leave. That place is disgusting. You saw what happened at Victoria Falls. Mambume's video, which is there, he showed you somewhere where you've got the most tourism in the world. What a disgusting city at Notimba there where people live. So you need a person that is going to come and clean up that place and make it a world-class country. And it's very easy to do it. But Mnangagwa won't do it. Mnangagwa spends all his time thinking about how to stay president. That is the problem. And that is where we need to fix. We need to fix our country. And that needs us to remove these people. Ana Mnangagwa, Ana Sean, Ana Collins, Ana Emmerson, so that we can start building our country. That is where you're going to start. Without that, you won't do anything. The political system is wrong. That is the problem in our country. And right now, here as we speak, Mnangagwa, Collins, Sean, Auxilia, they are sitting there watching and trying to understand what is Gambakwe saying. They are everywhere. And they've got hundreds and hundreds of people who have been given monies to watch these things. And yet the rest of the Zimbabweans, they're not conscious. They're still sleeping. Urara, when these things are happening. There is no country which has got so much opportunity like Zimbabwe. Zimbabwe, under the correct leader, can become a first world country within 5 years. Look at what has happened in Tanzania, where they put the SGR trains. SGR trains, 140 kilometers. Tanzania has already put in place planned cities. They are doing it very, very quickly. They're building the biggest port in East Africa. That is Tanzania. What is Zimbabwe doing? Zuma project, Mnangagwa, Chimbudzi, Chirod Cheku Amalinda. I was staying at Amalinda in Chirod Chocho 1, which I get on Mnangagwa. It's not done. Mnangagwa will never finish anything. The dams are not finished. So you need a new person that will take over in Zimbabwe. Right, I think I've covered everything here. And I like to end on a good note. So let's bring this to an end and let's watch what the ZANU-PF guys are going to do. And the end note that I'm going to do is to go check out the Nyati family. They are being featured today in the, what is this, Herald newspaper? Do you know the funny thing is I've never watched anything from the Nyati family? Like, there's that girl, Tighty and Kiki. They're like, when I'm watching my on my YouTube here, like I'm scrolling, the thing just, somehow it just pops up for me. I see Kiki doing some funny things. I don't know why they get 1 million views, but they do. Every day they get like 1 million views or whatever. But I've never seen anything by the Nyati family. So Nyati family, I don't know what you're doing wrong, but I'm not seeing your stuff. And I've never seen even one video of this family. It's very strange to me. And it's odd because I see everything. There's nothing that happens in Zimbabwe that I don't see, including the Manyame Rural District Council, master plan, all these things that happen. I see them. It's almost impossible for something to happen If I don't see it, my guys will see it. But the Nyati family, I've never even watched one video of this family. It's crazy. I think it's almost as if someone, or maybe they blocked me. I don't know. But I think that is it for today. Mnangagwa sons taking over and making sure that General Chiwenga does not get his deserved place of the next president of Zimbabwe. Let's see what happens today. Very critical day. And by tomorrow, one of the sides of them won. So when they issue those resolutions, it's going to be a defining moment because Mnangagwa has a plan. But what is the result of that plan? It's going to trigger a domino effect. That is tomorrow when ZANU-PF issues their statements from the annual or ZANU-PF annual National People's Conference, which is currently taking place at the ZATF in Bulawayo. Bulawayo, a city where I spent a lot of time at NAST as a student. And I'm about Inini when I was at NAST. I used to demonstrate or I used to protest. I never was a protester at NAST. I used to run a newspaper, the NAST Observer. That is back in 1997. I took over the NAST Observer, which was funded by the student union. I went into the office of the Vice Chancellor, and I was the first person to interview the Vice Chancellor of NAST, Makurane, at his office at NAST. And my thing was very organized. We had a very organized SRC. The guys who have come out of the SRC of NAST have done very, very well. And you will see the kind of things that we're telling you about here. They come from a long period of being in the space. We are going to make sure that our country does well, and we're going to play a big part. And we're going to change our country from a banana republic under Mnangagwa and his cabal. These guys, they've got no place in our country. Mnangagwa arikuraya nenzara, and bafana ava vanofana kumanyiswa. They mustn't be allowed to do what they're doing. Vana Mnangagwa. Right, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you tonight. And